There is a man 2 townships over who has fixed clogged drains for a living going on 20 years, and not once in all that time has he ever had a clogged drain in his own house. I asked him about it once at a barn raising, and he laughed and said it was not luck and it was not some trick of the trade he kept hidden in his truck. It was a habit that cost him about $2 a month, and he had no cause to ever mention it to a customer, because a clogged drain is the very thing that pays his bills. My name is Isaac Hosteler. I am Amish, and I keep a place here in the hill country with my own 2 hands, the way my people always have. Today I am going to show you the whole of that plumber's monthly routine, not just the one trick, but every habit working together so that you never again have to pay a man to come snake your line. And stay with me to the end, because I am going to give you a 1-minute trick for the bathroom sink that clears up the single most common cause of a slow drain in most every house. And once you see it, you will wonder why nobody ever showed you sooner. Keeping a drain clear is among the easiest things a body can do, and it is also one of the most overlooked, for it asks no special skill and no costly tool. It asks only a plain routine, and most folks never learn it. For the truth is, nobody who fixes drains for a living profits from teaching you to keep yours from ever needing fixed. But once you see how the buildup happens and what stops it cold, the whole of it falls into place plain as day. So let us start at the beginning, with why a drain clogs at all. Here is the thing most folks never think about. A clogged drain feels sudden. One day the water goes down fine, and the next it will not go at all, and you say it clogged out of nowhere. But it did not. That clog has been building for weeks, sometimes months, a little at a time, so slow you would never mark it. Every time you wash a dish, take a shower, or brush your teeth, a small measure of soap scum, grease, food, hair, and the natural oil of your own skin goes down that drain. Most of it passes through cleanly, but a portion clings to the inside wall of the pipe. It is the same as the buildup that narrows a man's arteries, a little at a time, so gradual he never feels it, until one day the opening is so narrow that everything backs up at once. Now hear me on this next part, for it matters greatly. Those bottles of drain cleaner at the hardware store, the ones with the skull and crossbones on the label, they are not your answer. And I cannot say this plain enough. That caustic chemical eats at the inside of your pipe, same as it eats at the clog. And if you have an older place with cast iron or galvanized pipe, the way many of the old farmhouses do, it does real harm over time. I have helped a neighbor pull up a pipe that the cleaner had damaged worse than the clog ever had. And in the newer plastic pipe, that same chemical heat can soften a joint and start a leak you will not find until there is water damage behind your wall. So set the chemicals aside entirely. What we are after instead is stopping the buildup before it ever starts, and that brings us to the heart of the whole matter. This is the big one. If you take nothing else from this whole video, take this. Once a month, a hot water and washing soda flush on every single drain in the house. Washing soda is sodium carbonate, and you will find it sitting plain on the laundry aisle of most any grocery or hardware store. The box runs $3 or $4, and one box will see you through 2 years of monthly treatments, so we are speaking of pennies a month, no more. Mind you, washing soda is not the same article as the baking soda you keep in your kitchen. Baking soda is a gentler thing, sodium bicarbonate, and it has not got the strength for this work. Washing soda carries a higher alkalinity, and that is exactly what cuts through grease and soap scum and the soft buildup clinging inside your pipe. It does no harm to the pipe itself, it raises no poisonous fumes, and it has done this work in homes for upward of 100 years. Here is how my grandfather always did it, and how I do it still. Once a month, on an evening when you are done with the sink for the night, you set a full kettle to boil. While that water heats, you pour about a half cup of the washing soda straight down the drain. Then, slow and steady, you pour the boiling water after it. The heat wakes the washing soda and carries it down through the pipe, loosening and dissolving whatever clings to the walls. You do this at night for a plain reason. You want that solution sitting in the pipe the whole night through, working while no water runs to wash it along before it's time. Come morning, the first time you turn the tap, everything it loosened washes clean away. Do this to every drain in the house. the kitchen sink, every bathroom sink, the shower, even the tub. My own father did this on the first Saturday of every month, the same morning he saw to the rest of his seasonal upkeep, and the whole job for a house this size takes no more than 15 minutes from start to finish. Now, if you would rather use an enzyme treatment in place of the washing soda, that answers too. The enzyme works by way of living bacteria that feed on the organic matter inside your pipe, and it is gentle on every kind of pipe there is. You pour it in at night the same way and let it work while the house sleeps. It costs a touch more, $8 to $12 a bottle, but a bottle sees you through several months. Either path works fine. The thing that matters is doing it faithfully, the same night, every month, without fail. Next, and this one is so plain it almost feels too easy. Set a mesh strainer over every drain in your house, every one of them. This is your first line of defense, and it is the cheapest thing you will ever buy for your plumbing. For the kitchen sink, a stainless mesh strainer set right in the drain catches the food bits and the small debris that has no business in your pipe at all. For the bathroom sink, a small stainless disc sits right over the opening and catches hair and bits of soap and toothpaste. And for the shower or the tub, a flat hair catcher of silicone or stainless steel stops the worst offender of all, for hair is the single greatest cause of a clogged shower drain, and a $2 strainer stops it cold. A full set for every drain in a house this size runs you no more than $10 or $15 total, and you will find them at any hardware store. Empty them every few days or whenever you see them filling. In my own kitchen, I empty mine after every big cooking day. In the shower, I pull the hair free after every wash. It takes 3 seconds, no more, and that little screen is stopping the trouble before it ever reaches your pipe, which means your monthly flush has that much less work left to do. The two habits, the strainer and the flush, work hand in hand, each one making the other do its job better. Now let us speak of grease, for this is where most every kitchen drain trouble truly begins, and I need you to hear this part close. No grease down that drain. None. Not even a little, and not even with the hot water running, for grease does not wash away no matter what you have been told. Here is what truly happens. You pour the hot grease down with hot water running, and sure enough it slides right through the trap and out of sight, and it feels like it worked. But 15 or 20 feet on, where the pipe runs flat through your floor or wall, that grease meets cooler water and a cooler pipe, and it begins to set. It coats the inside of that pipe the way wax builds up on the side of a candle holder, and every time more grease goes down, another thin layer joins it. Over the months, that buildup narrows the pipe until nothing passes through at all, and the worst of it is, this happens in a stretch of pipe no plunger and no simple snake can reach. That calls for a man with a power auger, and that is a service call you paid for with your own grease. So here is what to do instead. Keep an old coffee can or a mason jar near your stove, and when you have bacon grease, cooking oil, or pan drippings, pour it into that can rather than the sink. Once it is full, into the trash it goes. For a greasy pan or plate, wipe it down with a bit of paper before it ever touches the dishwater. 3 seconds, and it takes 90% of the grease off before water touches the dish at all. And one habit more that goes hand in hand with this. After you finish at the kitchen sink, let the hot water run a good 30 seconds. Just let it flow. That hot water chases whatever is left through the trap and further down the line while it is still warm enough to keep moving along. A small thing, but over the months it makes a true difference. Let me speak now of 2 more places in the house that want attention. Your garbage grinder, if you have the English kind, and your toilets. If you have a grinder, it wants a monthly cleaning of its own. Bits of food catch under the splash guard and around the grinding plate, and in time they rot and breed both a foul smell and a buildup that feeds straight into your drain. Here is the way of it. Once a month, drop 2 cups of ice into the grinder, followed by a ½ cup of coarse salt, and run it with cold water for 30 seconds. The ice and the salt scour the inside walls and the plate clean. After that, cut a lemon in half and grind both halves through with the cold water running, and that takes care of any smell. And mind always, cold water with the grinder, never hot, for cold keeps any grease solid enough to be chopped fine and carried through, while hot melts it, and you are back to the very trouble we just spoke of. And here is what should never go down that grinder at all: rice, pasta, potato peelings, eggshells, coffee grounds, or any stringy vegetable, for these either swell up with water or wind themselves around the blade. Now to your toilets, and this one is simple enough. A toilet is built for two things only, and that is what a body leaves behind and the paper that follows it. Nothing else. Not a tissue, not a cotton ball, not dental floss, and most especially not those so-called flushable wipes, for that name is one of the great untruths sold to a household. They do not break down the way paper does. I have helped pull wads of them from a line that looked near fresh, though they had sat below ground for months. They snag at every joint in the pipe, they catch whatever else comes along, and they build a blockage deep in your line that can cost $500 or better to clear. Into the trash with them, every single time. Now let me tell you plainly why the man who comes to snake your drain has never once sat you down and told you all of this. It is not that plumbers are poor sorts. Most everyone truly wants to help. But here is the shape of the trade. A drain cleaning call is what the trade calls bread and butter work. Quick, simple, and it pays well. A single call runs between $150 and $300. The man spends 20 or 40 minutes and moves along to the next house. Steady income, reliable as the seasons. The ordinary household calls for such a cleaning 2 or 3 times across 10 years, which comes to $400 or $600 spent on a trouble that was almost wholly preventable. Set that against the cost of what I have just shown you. A box of washing soda at $4 lasting 2 years comes to near $24 across that same 10 years. The mesh strainers, $10 or $15, last for years and years. We are speaking of perhaps $40 total across a decade, set against $400 or more in service calls. There is no profit in prevention, and so no plumber runs an advertisement saying, "Buy a $2 box of washing soda and you will never need to call me again." That is simply not the shape of the business. I do not say any man schemed this on purpose. No one had to. It is worse than a conspiracy, for nobody had to coordinate a thing. It is only that an ounce of prevention has never once paid a man's mortgage the way a pound of cure does, and the knowledge sits there plain on a low shelf for any who go looking, though none in the trade have cause to point the way. So take this, then, as your own insider's word. Let me give you a few common troubles besides, and their plain fixes. If you take up this monthly routine and a drain still runs slow, that most often means the pipe already carries a real buildup from before, for the flush is a habit to keep a clean pipe clean, not a cure for one already clogged. You may want a good manual snaking first to clear what is already there, and the monthly routine after to keep it from returning. If you hear a gurgle when the water drains, that is most often not a clog at all, but a venting trouble, for every drain ties to a vent pipe running up through your roof, and if that vent is choked by leaves or a nest or winter ice, the air cannot move right and you get the gurgle. No washing soda mends that. You want your roof vents looked at. If a seldom used drain, a basement floor drain or a guest bath, gives off a foul smell, the trouble is nearly always a dried-out trap, that curved length of pipe beneath every drain that holds a little water to seal off the sewer gas below. Let it sit unused a few weeks and that water dries away and the smell rises up. The mend is plain. Run water in that drain near 15 seconds every couple weeks to keep the trap full. If several drains run slow at once, that is a flag worth heeding, for it likely means the trouble sits in your main line rather than one branch, and that is the one place I would tell you plain to call a man in, for roots or a sag in the pipe or a great buildup deep in the system is not a thing to take on yourself. And if you do every one of these things faithful and still meet the occasional slow drain, do not fret over it. An older home with rougher pipe walls will do that now and again. Give it an extra washing soda treatment that week, and if it is not eased within a day or two, a simple hand snake from the hardware store, $15 or so, will see to it. Now the trick I promised you at the start, the 1-minute bathroom sink trick, and once you have seen it, you will wonder why nobody showed you sooner. Reach down and pull up the little pop-up stopper in your bathroom sink, that plug that rises and falls with the rod behind your faucet. On most every sink, it lifts straight out with a firm pull. On some, you must give it a quarter turn first. Once it is free, look close at the base of it, and I will wager near certain you will find a foul clump of hair and soap scum and slime wound round the bottom rod. This, and not some deep trouble far down your pipe, is the leading cause of a slow bathroom drain, sitting not 2 inches below the opening, choking the flow at the very top. Wipe it clean with a bit of paper, take an old toothbrush to the rod itself, and look down into the opening, for you will likely find more of the same clinging to the pivot rod within. Clean that too, set the stopper back, and run the water. That drain will run like it never has before. Do this the same day you do your washing soda flush, once a month, and you will likely never again meet a slow bathroom sink so long as you live in that house. 60 seconds of work, and it heads off the better part of every bathroom sink clog there is. Every man in the trade knows this trick well, and near no homeowner has ever once pulled that stopper free to see for himself. So there is the whole of it, plain and complete. Once a month, the washing soda and hot water flush, every drain in the house. A mesh strainer over every opening, emptied often. No grease down the kitchen drain ever, and a wipe of the pan before it meets the water. The ice and salt and lemon through your grinder monthly. Nothing in the toilet but what belongs there. And once a month, the bathroom stopper pulled and cleaned. Do these few plain things faithfully, and like that plumber 2 townships over, you may go years without once paying a man to come fix what you could have kept from breaking in the first place. Tell me in the comments below, when did you last call a man out for a clogged drain, and which of these habits had you never once thought to try? Tell me your county too, and how old your house and its pipes are, for I like to map it out by where you all write in from, and I read every one. Next time, I mean to widen out from the drain itself and show you the old way my people keep a whole house in good repair through the seasons. The small, steady tendings that spare a man the great, costly breakdowns down the road. For a house, same as a drain, is kept best not by mending what has broken, but by tending it faithful so it never breaks at all. Until then, keep your drains clear, keep your habits steady, and remember the people who built this country with their hands knew things we are only just starting to remember.